Hey everybody, it's Lynnea. We're continuing on with the sneak peeks for the Miss Ink Stamps Autumn release. Today I'm going to be working with the Beautiful Destination stamp set. This is a large stamp set and it has 3 sentiments and then there's 2 image stamps. So this is another one that's perfect for building easy slimline scenes. This stamp set is a 4 by 8 inch stamp set, so the scene itself is going to be slightly wider than an A2 or a slimline card rather. So it's a little bit wider, so it'll kind of cut off on the sides. I like to make my slimline cards to be 3 1/4 by 8 1/4 inches long. So that's the size panel that I have now, and I'll end up cutting that down in the end. But basically I just wanted to have an easy ink blended background that would make that Beautiful Destination scene really pop. So I'm going to be blending my background, and I decided to go with some blue and some greens, and I decided to throw some purple in at the very bottom there. I'm finishing off, I'm just blending really simply. I like to overlap my blending to make sure that they have a smooth transition of color. And once I'm all done, you see that I have that nice kind of olivey green all the way down to that purple. I want to have my scene heat embossed in white, but I'm going to be doing that on vellum and just overlaying that over my ink blended background. So my vellum piece is sized to be 3 inches by 8 inches, so just slightly smaller than my card front. And here's where you can see that this Beautiful Destination 4 by 8 stamp set, see how it kind of hangs off on the left and right hand side? So you can use this for a variety of size cards. If you wanted to go with an A2 card, you're going to find that it's just a little bit skinnier than the A2 card, but if you're doing a slimline, it'll be just big enough that you're going to be able to fit this scene in perfectly. So any size card, you're going to be able to use this scene just fabulously. I'm going to ink this up with my watermark ink and stamp this onto a piece of vellum. I did treat my vellum with some anti-static powder so that I wouldn't get powder or embossing powder where I didn't want it to be. And you're going to be able to see that powder stick to that clear sticky ink, and then I will heat emboss this scene. The mountains are separate from the rest of that little forest and the path, so you can have the mountains. I think it would be really cool to do a couple layers of mountains. I stamped them right at the top, but you're going to see in a little bit that I'm going to change this around. After I heat emboss this, I decided to kind of cut out. See how the path goes in a zigzag? I decided to cut out those parts, and as well as the mountains, and I'm going to layer them together because my mountains, I stamped them a little bit too high for what I wanted this to look like. So I cut out the little pieces of on the left and the right where the scene kind of came pinched in at the sides, I guess you could say. And I also cut off those mountains. Since this is on vellum, you only want to use adhesive where you can hide it. So I'm taking my liquid adhesive and adding tiny little dots of glue behind the white embossed parts. I glued my mountains behind my forest once again, but I moved them down. So you can kind of see as I'm messing around with this that my card base, my ink blended background, is a little bit too big, I think. So I ended up trimming that down, and so my background is going to be 3 inches by 8 inches. My background for my card base is going to be 3 1/4 by 8 1/4 inches. And then I white heat embossed a sentiment from the Beautiful Destination stamp set down at the bottom, and I will add little tiny dots of glue all behind my white embossing, add that onto my background panel, and then I added that with foam tape onto my card base for a little bit of dimension. I hope you've enjoyed this sneak peek at the Miss Ink Stamps Beautiful Destination stamp set. This will be available on Friday the 26th. See you then. Bye. Thank you again very much for watching this video. If you liked this video and you'd like to see more from me, please hit that subscribe button that is on the screen now. And here are a few other videos that I thought you might enjoy.